Breaking news from the heart of America. Tyson Foods, the nation's largest meat processor and a household name for generations, is shutting down plants across the country. For decades, these facilities provided steady jobs, bustling communities, and the promise of a secure future. But now, thousands of families are facing an uncertain tomorrow. The announcement of multiple plant closures has sent shockwaves across small towns, leaving workers stunned and local economies reeling. Silent factories now stand where once the sounds of machinery and voices filled the air. In their place, questions linger. How did we get here? And what does this mean for the future of America's working class? To understand the weight of these closures, you need to know who Tyson Foods is. This isn't just another company. Tyson is the biggest meat processor in the United States. Their products fill grocery store shelves, supply fast food chains, and stock cafeterias in schools and hospitals across the country. The company has long marketed itself as a proud symbol of American strength and self-reliance. But behind the glossy branding, cracks were forming. Rising operational costs, new waves of automation, and most importantly, tariffs imposed during the trade wars placed unbearable pressure on the company's bottom line. When profits shrink, corporations look for cuts, and those cuts almost always land hardest on workers in small towns. And so plants in Perry, Iowa, Noel, Missouri, and Dexter, Missouri were closed. For these communities, Tyson wasn't just an employer, it was the lifeline of their entire economy. The closures didn't just end jobs, they ended stability. They ended trust. Picture a town where everything really revolves around the plant. The local diner serves workers breakfast before the morning shift. The hardware store sells equipment for maintenance. The schools rely on property taxes funded by Tyson's payroll. When that plant shuts down, it's not just a building that goes dark. The whole town goes dark with it. In Perry, a mother who worked at the Tyson plant for 15 years suddenly finds herself unemployed, wondering how she'll pay the mortgage. In Noel, a father who moved his family to town for steady work now faces the reality of moving again, uprooting his children from the only home they've known. And you know what stings even more? Many of these same families supported leaders who promised to bring back jobs, protect American workers, and restore prosperity to small-town America. Instead, they are left with broken promises, empty paychecks, and a future full of questions. The sense of betrayal is deep. The same hands that built America's food supply are now discarded, and the slogans of America First ring hollow in the face of shuttered doors and padlocked gates. The devastation becomes clearer in the numbers. In Perry, Iowa, a town of 8,000, Tyson was the largest employer. With 1,200 jobs gone, that's nearly 1 in 5 residents suddenly out of work. Imagine the impact of 20% of a community losing its income overnight. That's the kind of blow most towns never recover from. In Noel, Missouri, a town of just 2,000 people, Tyson employed over 1,500. When the plant closed, it wasn't just job loss. It was half the town's entire economy gone in a single announcement. And in Dexter, Missouri, hundreds more were left scrambling, with local officials openly admitting they don't know how they'll keep essential services funded. Nationwide, estimates suggest that Tyson's cost-cutting moves have eliminated thousands of jobs in recent years. And when you account for the ripple effects, the restaurants, stores, and schools that depend on those paychecks, the real number is far higher. Behind every number is a story. Workers who gave decades of their lives to Tyson now walk away with severance checks so small they barely cover 2 months of rent. A worker in Perry told local reporters, "I thought this would be the place I'd retire from. Now I don't even know if I can stay in this town." Farmers too are caught in the crossfire. Tyson's contracts once guaranteed steady income for poultry growers. But when contracts are canceled, farmers are left with barns full of chickens and no one to sell to. Many had taken on massive loans to upgrade equipment, confident that Tyson would keep buying. Now those debts hang like a noose around their necks. In Noel, Missouri, the closure struck a unique blow. For years, Tyson recruited immigrant and refugee workers, many from Somalia and Central America, to keep its plants running. These workers built new lives, started families, and created communities. With the plant gone, they are left stranded in a town with no jobs and few resources. The dream of stability has turned into uncertainty and fear. Local leaders are sounding the alarm. Mayors are warning that without intervention, their towns may never recover. But as one mayor put it bluntly, were just too small to matter in Washington's eyes. So why did this happen? Many point directly to the trade wars and tariff policies of the Trump administration. Tariffs were meant to protect American industries, but in practice, they raised the cost of steel for machinery, feed for livestock, and packaging for products. At the same time, foreign buyers imposed retaliatory tariffs on American meat, making it harder for Tyson to sell abroad. The result was a squeeze from both ends, higher costs and lower demand. Tyson's response was to cut, and the cuts landed squarely on small-town America. The irony is hard to ignore. Trump held rallies in these very regions, promising to protect jobs and bring prosperity back to forgotten towns. Yet today, those same towns are struggling to survive because of policies that backfired, and the pain isn't limited to one party or one administration. These closures highlight a deeper truth. When political promises collide with global economics, it's often the workers who pay the price. The damage spreads far beyond the plant walls. Take Perry, Iowa, for example. When the Tyson plant closed, it wasn't just the workers who suffered. The local diner lost its morning rush, and the hardware store saw sales plummet. Schools lost tax revenue, forcing budget cuts and staff layoffs. In Noel, families are leaving town in search of work. That means fewer students in classrooms, fewer customers in shops, and fewer families supporting the local economy. Slowly, the town begins to wither. Local officials describe it as a domino effect. Once the major employer leaves, the support businesses follow. Property values drop, mortgage defaults rise, and families who stay face shrinking services and rising taxes. And soon what was once a thriving town looks more like a ghost town. Adding insult to injury, Tyson's corporate behavior paints a troubling picture. While workers are losing jobs, executives are taking home millions in salaries and bonuses. Annual reports show Tyson investing heavily in lobbying efforts, securing federal subsidies while simultaneously shutting down American plants. And where is Tyson expanding? Overseas. As U.S. workers struggle, the company is opening or investing in plants abroad, chasing cheaper labor and higher margins. To many in small-town America, it feels like abandonment. A company that once built its reputation on feeding America now seems more interested in feeding profits, no matter the cost to American workers. But this isn't just about workers. It affects every single one of us. If you go to your local grocery store, you'll notice it. Meat prices have been steadily climbing. Restaurants are raising menu prices to cover higher costs. Even schools are being forced to stretch every dollar, with lunch programs cutting portion sizes or switching to cheaper alternatives. Families are feeling the squeeze. For many, the weekly grocery bill is becoming a source of stress. The promise of affordable food, something Tyson once symbolized, is slipping away. This story is bigger than Tyson. It's about the future of America's economy and the people who are supposed to be at the center of it. The closures are a cautionary tale about protectionism, globalization, and corporate priorities. They show how easily promises can crumble when policies meet the realities of a global marketplace. The tragedy is that the very communities who believed in those promises are now paying the highest price. They put their trust in leaders and companies that claim to value them, and now they're left with broken promises and broken towns. And the story isn't over. Tyson has hinted that more closures could be coming. The uncertainty is crushing. Families are left asking, if our plant is next, what will we do? At its core, this isn't just about business. It's about people. It's about families who gave everything to their jobs, towns that rallied around their factories, and communities that built their futures on the promise of stability. Now, many of those same families are asking the same haunting question: when will it be our turn to be saved? Because if this trend continues, Tyson's story won't just be about a few towns in Iowa or Missouri. It will be the story of America itself. A nation where small towns fade into history and the people who built this country are left behind. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please consider subscribing for more content like this. Until next time, stay inspired.